It's a pretty good plan. All I want for Christmas is a real good tan. See, that's one of my favorite songs. If you guys know me, that's by the Kenny Chesney. One of my favorites. I'm feeling festive. If you would like to check this song out, it's from this album, Kenny Chesney's All I Want for Christmas is a Real Good Tan, right? And people like me who sit and stare at the salt water all day. I met a couple people yesterday. You know, call us crazy, but this is the life we want to live. Okay, so today I'm going to read to you my blog that I'm getting ready to post. This blog is called Public Service and Uber. God, what are you asking me to do? Okay, so here we go. How did Miss Mick get here? So public service and Uber. I've walked with God, well, for as long as I can remember. I found my faith when I was 7 while surviving sexual assault. That is another story for another day. In July 2021, I left a contract job with a set income in public service because it was killing me and my spirit. My family doctor, specialist for my SIBO, a counselor, and psychologist for the last few years have advised me that the stress, business of my life, and career was not helping me. I gotta go back and fix that sentence. This is how you edit. I've read this like I don't know how many times, but this is how you edit people. You write, rewrite, reread, all that. So let me finish my story today. So 5 years ago, I started praying to God. So this was not a COVID, like I know there's a lot of people going through like this whole COVID re-looking at their life, which I think is a good thing. I think all of us should have moments. I started that 5 years ago. So I started praying to God, like, help me, you know, help me prepare for what I feel like my doctors are telling me, you know, that I've got to make some big changes. I've got to reduce stress in my life. Help me. And I want to live for my health first. Okay. My health story is not yours. Okay. What I have to eat is not necessarily what you need to eat. Thus, I set out on the plan that I made in prayer. I have walked, hold on, I just want to add there, I was missing a word. I have walked and continue to walk in my work, praying and trying to be the light of God every day. Hear that again, okay? Since I've been 7 years old, I have walked and continue to walk in my work, which used to be school, right? Because kids, let me tell you, school is your work. Okay, to get to your high school diploma, that's your work before you start the work. So I have walked and continue to walk in my work, praying and trying to be the light of God every day. The it is and was. So the it that was causing me a lot of stress that I had to leave. The it was the confusion from administrative powers, government funding, too much talk, and less action to help me serve as a public school teacher. One counselor, yes, I have seen a few. Okay, I suggest that you do go see a few because it's not always a one size fits all. And I have learned different things from different ones. One was a family counselor that was also seeing my child. So, you know, that's just where I'm at, and I have appreciated all of them and what I've learned. So, one counselor told me that my 20-year career is the story of a trailblazer. And trailblazers don't have it easy. They can't go with the majority because they walk with a higher power who won't let them. Okay, this was the first time in my life that when this particular counselor said it, it was like a huge awakening. Okay, that there's nothing wrong with me. always being the rebel, always questioning what the authority is trying to tell me to do with my job and my service as a public school teacher. So I do question everything because human and social justice is my burden. This was January 2020 when I had this big revelation right before the COVID-19 pandemic. Like I said, I was in treatment. I was out on FMLA intermittently, which means that you know, sometimes I need 3 days off, sometimes I just need 1 day off. But for a year, I was allowed to take whatever time I needed off to see my doctors and stuff. And I learned that I need to stop criticizing myself. I need to stop questioning my thoughts and my rebelness against our systems, because if God is with me, then who can be against me? Which I was telling myself that, but I didn't really live it. I was stuck in a lot of guilt and a lot of people don't like me. They're not going to like what I have to say about this. They're not going to like the question that I'm about to ask. And what, you know, the administrative powers are asking us to do. Even though there are some teachers who they're thinking it and they're like, they give me that look like, oh, they know I'm gonna say it. So I was like, so this is my burden that God has given me. Okay. So this was the first time that I began to embrace this rebelness and this troublemaker spirit of mine in a different light. Others told me to say no, just let it go, just teach and go home. Just teach your class, go home. That was killing my spirit. I tried to do that, but then I was dying inside because God was telling me, like, you know, that's not who I made you to be. And so I started becoming more involved in attending meetings. Not all meetings, but a lot of meetings. I started questioning authority more. I started telling them what I felt it was needed or what I have seen that works. I was advised medically to take a sabbatical, which is like a year off. My school district doesn't support that. So I knew I'd have to take it. I'd have to resign to take it. So I started to prepare for that. That was going to happen after May of 2021. So again, this was a 5-year prayer planning, a lot of prayer, a lot of planning. It was not COVID happened and I just up and changed my whole entire life. That's not what this is or was. So the suggestion of the sabbatical was that I needed more time to process the last 20 years of my career and to continue my story, because I was doing better in healing when I started attending more community meetings about my job and telling my story in my blog. So I need to just get it all out. During the 2020 pandemic closure, I went back to my journal. So I've always been a writer. If you've been in my home, you know I have books, you know I have paper, journal. I mean, I'm a writer. So I started going back to my journals and started rewriting them and to add to my blog, which I started my blog as part of the Teacher Leadership Institute that I became involved in through the RESA, the Residential Educator process that Ohio and Texas had started. And then, of course, that's all been rewritten because it failed. And I presented to Miami University about why I felt that it was failing and wasn't going to help retain teachers. But, you know, that was then, this is now. So if you go back on my blog, you can read all about that journey. So during the pandemic, I began all my free time that wasn't teaching online and trying to reach out to my students. I began writing and continuing starts that I had in my journals. So when I tell my story, I have critics, and I have lost friends too over my stance, you know, this burden that I carry. And I had to learn with my counselors that I have to look at this burden to carry in order to be God's light, that I have bid friends farewell. I try not to harbor hate at them, even though I still tell them my truths, and that I can't agree with their truths, you know, that it's not that I don't love you, but I don't agree with you. And this is the story and the burden that I have to share and carry and tell. And it's been hard as a human being to try to not harbor hate at them, and then also I have to tell myself not to overanalyze our friendship. As a divorce survivor, I have learned to appreciate the relationship, the love, and let the bad go, but to set boundaries in future relationship opportunities with that person by being more businesslike. So I've kind of adapted that into some of my friendships and other relationships that I've lost, because politically I disagree with the way that they're voting, and they disagree with the way that I'm voting, and like I said, they don't understand my burden, but I still love them. You know, I don't know if they love me. I think that's something that they have to work out. So this is my American story, or my American tragedy. You decide. I'm working on writing stories I have started and stopped at different points during my whole little life. When I found out I wasn't needed to teach at the college nearby, the place in Florida that I moved to, I prayed. Why? You know, like, I came here, I'm an adjunct professor on their list, and I have no students to teach. So that means I can't make any money. So writers are, you know, you have to keep a 1099 log. You have to kind of log your hours and and some tax deductions that you can get for that, but you know, you're not making any money. So I figured, you know, my faith has gotten me this far. I interviewed and thought about teaching at the prison system. Not only was the working conditions worse than I could have ever imagined, and then the pay was extremely low, $16 an hour. You know, it just, you know, that's a whole other thing, and I just couldn't take that on. And so again, my faith has gotten me this far. I focus every day now on my healthy life, which means exercise and healthy eating for my body first, each and every day. I have to follow a low FODMAPs diet, and I have to keep a food journal. So I eat to make my small intestine happy. That's just part of the disease that I've ended up with. I saw Uber as a way to still serve, an opportunity to serve and help people. I'm in control how I handle every Uber that pins my phone. I accept and serve. Uber has app manipulation and manipulates what you get. I found a UE Secrets face group page created by Donald Franco and a couple other individuals, but he Ubers with his wife. The tips and tricks he has taught our group is awesome, but it angers me that we even have to do it, because Uber is not really for the contractor courier. They're not really for the people who Uber or the Uber customers. They're not. Okay, read that again. If you use Uber, they really do not care about you or the driver. That speaks volumes. That's a problem in our society. Lastly, at church yesterday, on December 5th, 2021, Central Church at Floribama, Pastor Rick said, Mary and Joseph didn't have an Uber. They had a donkey. So my truck and I are just a donkey this holiday season. God, I'm listening. Send me where I am needed. You guys have a great day. I tried to make this video as short as I could. I'm under 15 minutes. Have a good one, guys.